Good morning. Welcome to the First Religious Society Unitarian Universalist of Newburyport, Massachusetts. I'm Nancy Crochere. I'm a member of the FRS Welcoming Committee, the group that is bringing you today's service. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We're glad you're here. And if you're new and would like to connect, please fill out one of the blue cards in your pew and put it in the collection plate. We come together at FRS in person and online, committed to love, peace, and justice. Our mission and our invitation to all of you is, come as you are, journey together in love, act with courage, transform our world. If you're worshiping online and would like to access this morning's order of service, please click on the link just below the live stream. If you'd like a large print order of service or hymnal, please ask an usher and they'll be happy to help you. Please take a quick moment to review your order of service for all the activities happening this week. A few things in particular. Next Sunday is our combined annual meeting and worship service with Reverend Rebecca offering her year-end reflections. Everyone is invited to join. However, you must be a member to vote on the warrant items. Please see Reverend Laurel if you're interested in becoming a member. Members, please sign up if you have not already. Everyone is invited to join us for a graduation celebration Saturday, June 7th from 1 to 4 p.m. in the parish hall. This is for two of our Afghan friends, Soma and Uma Mirzai, who are graduating from high school. They wanted to return to the parish hall for their party. Reverend Rebecca will give remarks at 2 p.m. Finally, everyone is invited to join us after the service next door in the parish hall for Pizza and Justice Sunday. This morning, Lee Pearson, member of the Accessibility Inclusion Ministry, will be leading a presentation titled Accessible Communication. We will explore our written and graphic communication styles according to the principles of universal design, which aims to create products and environment that are simple and usable for everyone. The presentation will also be available on Zoom. The link is in the order of service and was also sent out in this morning's email reminder. The pizza is in celebration of reaching our annual campaign goal. Yay! All are welcome. As noted earlier, today is one of the two services each church year sponsored by the FRS Welcoming Committee, and we, its members, are particularly excited about today's service given the current environment in our country in which diversity, equity, and inclusion have come under attack. As UUs, we celebrate people's differences and uniqueness. Many of you present today are familiar with the identity of drag queen, but some may not be, and others may appreciate learning more. May we all open our hearts and minds to a joyous celebration of being exactly who we are. Every Sunday, it's such a blessing that we gather, so let's give ourselves to it. Welcome once again. It's good to be together.
Our call to worship are the words of Julian K. Jarboe based on the teachings of Rabbi Akiva. God blessed me by making me transsexual for the same reason God made wheat but not bread and fruit but not wine, so that humanity might share in the act of creation. You are joyfully called to worship. Please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our opening hymn, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
Come, yet again come. be seated.
Please join in saying the chalice lighting words while members of the FRS Welcoming Committee light the chalice. The words can be found in your order of service. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Each week, we also pause to lift up 2 places on earth that need peace. We know that there are untold numbers of places on earth that need peace. These 2 we will hold in our hearts through this service and through the week ahead. I will list the place. We'll sit together in silent contemplation for a moment, and then I invite us all to say peace in 3 languages: peace, salam, shalom. Our first candle this morning is lit for the Maris Center in Salisbury, who has recently lost their funding and will no longer be able to provide their much-needed services for women. To this we respond, peace, salam, shalom. And our second candle this morning is lit for the United States, where to date in 2025, there have been 910 anti-trans bills across 49 states. 103 of these have passed, 76 have failed, and 731 are still active, according to the Trans Legislation Tracker. To this we respond, peace, salam, shalom. Please rise in body or in spirit, and let's join our voices in our affirmation of faith, followed by the doxology. The words can be found in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. You may be seated. It's all good. Each week we pause to lift up the joys, the sorrows, the hopes, the dreams, and the concerns of our beloved faith community. This morning, Nancy Kidd, our pastoral care associate, will light candles as I read what has been shared with me in advance of today's service. You can always send an email before Sundays or write in the journal in the vestibule so that we may hold your life in this community in care.
Open my heart to be a sanctuary, all made holy
light a candle of blessed memory for Anne Donahue, Brian Shaughnessy's aunt, who died recently. We send prayers to Brian and to all of their family. Anne had a fall and at 88 years old, found her peace at the end of this life. We light a candle of joy. Renee Wolf Foster shares that it was a joy yesterday, and indeed it was, selling raffle tickets and pride paraphernalia at yesterday's parade. Paula Renda put so much time and love into making yesterday a wonderful experience, and we all thank you, Paula, for your love and your joy. We have more joys to share this morning. David Owen and his wife, Mary Sortel, attended the wedding of David's only son, Samuel Owen, with Megan Pikama May 31st, in Cloverdale, California, which is about 50 miles north of San Francisco. The newlyweds reside in Redwood City, California, and they leave on Tuesday for their honeymoon in Tahiti. David and Mary are delighted with their new daughter-in-law and her family. We light another candle of welcome and celebration. Bob and Judy Higgins are overjoyed to share the news of the birth of their granddaughter, Colette. Colette Higgins Taiwao was born on May 20th. This is the first child for their daughter, Abby, and her husband, Femi, and all are healthy and happy. Bob and Judy, also known as Pop and Gaga, spent the past week at the new parents' home in Washington, D.C., helping out a little, but mostly just swooning and smiling. You're still smiling, Bob. This is their third grandchild, joining cousins Charlie and Ollie. And we light another candle of joy and of welcome as Mary McDonald and Jim Supple share the joyous news of the birth of their fourth grandchild this past week. Nash Martinez Supple was born on Monday, May 26th. Their son Chris, his partner Melissa, brother Quinn, and faithful dog Flo are all thrilled to welcome Nash into the family. And we light a final candle, as we do each week, for all of the joys, all of the sorrows, all of the hopes, and all of the concerns, that although unspoken are held in just as much love and care. Join us.
Open my heart to be a sanctuary. Are made holy, loved and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Let us join our minds in quiet and in contemplation as we remember and bring to our recollection all of the joys, gifts, gratitude in our lives that is always and also present despite anything else that may be happening. There, a blade of grass, a child's smile, the smell of your favorite soup. May we sit together in gratitude. And may all that we are grateful for turn into blessings not only for ourselves, but for the world. May it be so.
Friends and family,
siblings and cousins,
the moment you've all been waiting for.
making a special Newburyport Pride visit
Via the high seas, New York City, and P-Town,
the inimitable
the abdominable,
and always phenomenal
a woman named Carlos.
With you, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin in a world completely my creation. What you'll see will defy explanation. If you want to feel paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it, want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know that compares with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
One more round of applause. Oh. So this is a story for all ages. So we mean all ages. You can take a moment and check in with your inner child. And this is a book where I'm going to read it and I invite you to participate. I think you'll recognize the tune. This is a book called If You're a Drag Queen and You Know It by Lil Miss Hot Mess. Relatable. All right, I'm gonna put this here. If you're a drag queen and you know it, blow a kiss. If you're a drag queen and you know it, blow a kiss. If you're a drag queen and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're a drag queen and you know it, blow a kiss. If you're a drag queen and you know it, strike a pose. If you're a drag queen and you know it, strike a pose. If you're a drag queen and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're a drag queen and you know it, strike a pose. If you're a drag queen and you know it, say, ta-da! Ta-da! If you're a drag queen and you know it, say, ta-da! If you're a drag queen and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're a drag queen and you know it, say, ta-da! If you're a drag queen and you know it, do all three. blow a kiss, strike a pose, say ta-da! If you're a drag queen and you know it, say all three. Blow a kiss, strike a pose, say ta-da! If you're a drag queen and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're a drag queen and you know it, do all three. Mwah! Strike a pose, ta-da! If you're a drag queen and you know it, give a wink. If you're a drag queen and you know it, give a wink. If you're a drag queen and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're a drag queen and you know it, give a wink or a blink. Oh goodness, get ready. You might need to stand up for this one. If you're a drag queen and you know it, shake your bum. If you're a drag queen and you know it, shake your bum. If you're a drag queen and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're a drag queen and you know it, shake your bum. If you're a drag queen and you know it, laugh real big. If you're a drag queen and you know it, laugh real big. If you're a drag queen and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're a drag queen and you know it, laugh real big. If you're a drag queen and you know it, do all three. Give a wink, shake your bum, laugh real big. If you're a drag queen and you know it, do all three. Give a wink, shake your bum, laugh real big. If you're a drag queen and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're a drag queen and you know it, do all three. Give a wink, shake your bum, laugh real big. If you're a drag queen and you know it, mouth the words, because drag queens do amazing lip syncing. Mouth the words. If you're a drag queen and you know it, mouth the words. If you're a drag queen and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're a drag queen and you know it, mouth the words. If you're a drag queen and you know it, twirl around. If you're a drag queen and you know it, twirl around. If you're a drag queen and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're a drag queen and you know it, twirl around. If you're a drag queen and you know it, shout, yes, queen! Yes, queen! If you're a drag queen and you know it, shout, yes, queen! If you're a drag queen and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're a drag queen and you know it, shout, yes, queen! Last one. If you're a drag queen and you know it, do all three. Mouth the words, twirl around, shout, yes, queen! If you're a drag queen and you know it, do all three. Mouth the words, twirl around, say, yes, queen! Last time. If you're a drag queen and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're a drag queen and you know it, mouth the words, twirl around, shout, yes, queen!
The generosity of our community is an essential ministry that supports the work of the church, both in Newburyport and beyond. Each week, 50% of the Sunday offering, not designated as a pledge, goes to a local community partner engaged in important efforts to transform our region. Our community partner this month is Newburyport Pride. Newburyport Pride unites, educates, and engages people to support and empower the LGBTQ plus community and our allies with a focus on inclusion. They work to educate the wider community on diversity topics in order to build a stronger and healthier society. They do this by facilitating LGBTQ Pride events that inspire, commemorate, and celebrate our diverse community through unity and visibility. To give online, please use the link in your order of service or below the live stream. You can also make a contribution by text, and, of course, you can always mail a check to the church as well. Thank you. The offering will now be gratefully received.
I am my own special creation. So, come take a look. Give me the hook or the ovation. It's my that I want to have a little pride in my world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. Life's not worth a damn till you can say, hey world, I am what I am. I am what I am. I don't want praise, I don't want pity. I bang my own drum. Some think it's noise, I think it's pretty. And so what if I love each feather and each spangle? Well, I'm not trying to see things from a different angle. Your life is a sham till you can shout out loud, I am what I am. I am what I am, and what I am needs no excuses. I deal my own deck, sometimes the ace, sometimes the deuces. Life, and there's no return and no deposit. One life, so it's time to open up your closet. Life's not worth a damn till you can say, hey, well, I am what I
Good morning, members, friends, and folks who are joining us for the first time. Happy Pride! I am Holly Cashman, and I use she and they pronouns. I am so happy to be here with you this morning, and I'm going to do my best to follow that gorgeous performance you just heard. Evidence of the fact that, with all due respect to Little Hot Mess, not all drag queens mouth the words. Some of them sing beautifully. So this morning I want to share two truths and a lie about drag. And I want to start by saying that when I speak about drag, I'm talking about people who are my friends and people who are members of my community. That's the place that I'm coming from in what I share today. I'm speaking as a member of the queer community, as a feminist, and as someone who has friends who do drag, whose progressive politics resonate with my own, whose perspectives I learn from, and whose courage and bravery I admire. I also enjoy their often tremendous sense of humor and outrageous talent. Before I get to the two truths and a lie, because I'm a linguist, I'm also obligated to start with the definition of the term. So the Oxford English Dictionary, of course, lists dozens and dozens of meanings of the word drag, some dating as far back as the 14th century. However, the definition we're concerned about today is a little newer than that. The OED says that, and I apologize for the kind of gender binary language in their definition. Originally, the term referred to women's clothing worn by a man, and later, also more generally, clothing conventionally associated with one sex worn by a person of the other sex, especially an entertainer. The OED goes on to say that in contemporary use, the term often refers to typically glamorous or outrageous and stereotypically gendered costumes, makeup, etc., worn by a performer who adopts a flamboyant, exaggerated, or parodic feminine or less often masculine persona. While drag in this sense does not date to the 14th century, we do know that, and this is truth number one, drag is nothing new. We see the word drag in this sense first appear in print in the mid to late 19th century. And of course, once it appears in print, we know it's already been used orally for a while. One such example is the newspaper account of William Dorsey Swan, who I've shared about in a previous welcoming service, but I'll recap. Swan's story was uncovered and publicized by journalist and historian Channing Gerard Joseph. William Dorsey Swan, a formerly enslaved person and the first known self-performed queen of drag, or drag queen, petitioned President Grover Cleveland for a pardon when he was imprisoned for a term of 10 months after police raided his home in Washington, D.C. on January 1st, 1896, where he was hosting a party attended by both black and white guests, many of whom were in drag. William Dorsey Swan's petition unfortunately was denied, but the important thing I would like to underscore is that it was an African American, formerly enslaved drag queen who was, as writer Marjorie H. Morgan puts it, quote, the first recorded American to take political and legal steps to defend the LGBTQ community's right to gather without threat of state or individual violence. Laws existed to police the clothing that people were allowed to wear according to their gender in the United States. In the mid-19th century, so-called anti-masquerading laws prohibited people from appearing in public in clothing that did not align with their sex. Trans historian Susan Stryker explained there was a wave of laws passed starting with Columbus, Ohio in 1848, legislating gendered clothing norms and public spaces. There were legal cases well before that, but we won't go there. These laws became a powerful tool used against LGBTQ+ individuals to limit our access to public space and our rights to exist in a way that was authentic to who we are and how we chose to present ourselves. Among people whose gender and sexuality was being strictly policed in this way, it is no wonder that there arose a desire to play with, poke fun at, and mock gender as a form of reclaiming and celebrating the very thing that was being used against us, in the form of drag performances, first in private homes, later in gay bars and the ballroom scene, as well as independent films, such as one of my favorites, John Waters' Pink Flamingo, and the documentary Paris is Burning, and finally crossing over into mainstream culture with, for example, RuPaul's song Supermodel in 1993, or the hugely popular reality competition show Drag Race that premiered in 2009. So while its appearance in mainstream culture is somewhat new, drag has been around for a very long time, well over 100 years. Truth number two, drag is for everyone. Drag is as diverse as any other art form, and among people who do drag, there are a diversity of opinions and topics and styles of presentation. As Marwick et al. 2024 put it in put it very succinctly in a recent article, drag is a diverse art including people of all genders and sexualities. Since drag was a form of entertainment that was excluded from mainstream culture and confined to adult-only LGBTQ plus spaces, it naturally developed a tendency to be associated with mature content, including innuendos and double entendres of all sorts. But context is everything. While there are certainly drag performers whose work I might not ever imagine in an all-ages context, someone dressing up in a particularly stylized form of clothing and makeup in order to perform and entertain is not inherently adult entertainment. I had originally thought of mentioning here that people should think about any place they would invite Dolly Parton to perform, a senior center, to read a book to children, to sing at a church. And if they didn't think those same places were appropriate for a drag queen, to ask themselves why, and to really think long and hard about what comes up. I think our performance this morning, though, makes that point much, much stronger than I could make it, and I'm so grateful that a woman named Carlos is here. One thing that I want to kind of bring up about this point, this truth number 2, drag is for everyone, there is a recurring pattern in LGBTQ plus history. First, we queer folks are excluded and prohibited from equal participation in some aspect of the society. Then, being the resilient and creative people we are, we develop ways to overcome that marginalization. We create our own cultural practices. We create our own community spaces. We forge our own chosen families and communities to support us. And we develop our own forms of artistic expression. Then, we're criticized for how inappropriate, deviant, or degenerate we are for our cultural practices that deviate from the norm. I do not have time this morning to go into the many ways that this pattern manifests, but drag is certainly a great example. Imagine if drag queens had access to perform in all the places that musical performances typically are held. We might have a lot more examples to point to of genres that would be considered family entertainment. Even so, drag, as we know it, as we see it today, is a varied and multifaceted art form with performers representing a wide range of styles. It would be silly to say something like literature isn't appropriate for kids, or comedy isn't appropriate for kids. Is there literature with adult content or comedy that uses language or addresses topics that might not be suited for all ages? Sure, but there's plenty that isn't too. So that's truth number 2, drag is for everyone. And that brings us to the lie. The lie is that drag queens are dangerous, that drag queens are predators, that drag queens should be feared, kept away from children, or banned altogether from performing. We see this lie coming up in the current moral panic around drag queens. A moral panic is defined by Stanley Cohen as when, quote, a condition, episode, person, or group of persons emerges to become defined as a threat to societal values and interests, close quote. In a moral panic, the issue may be real, but its threat is exaggerated and it is used by those in authority, or those who wish to be, to manipulate public opinion through manufactured fear, often with the help of the media and now social media as well. Moral panics can make use of existing prejudices and biases to really catch fire in the public imagination. And this is the case for certain with the moral panic about drag queens that has led to legislative efforts to ban and criminalize drag. Building on the long existing stereotype that LGBTQ plus people are untrustworthy, are sexual deviants and pedophiles, the moral panic about drag today tells the lie that exposure to drag is harmful to children, and to blame, in part at least, for an increase in gender nonconforming identities among young people. This is a lie. Efforts to root out LGBTQ plus people from professions such as teaching and social work, and from all manner of government jobs in the Lavender Scare are a painful part of our history that has seen a resurgence in recent years based on this same misinformation and disinformation about queer folks. Drag is not a tool for turning children gay. Seeing drag does not turn heterosexual children gay or make cisgender children trans. What it does is celebrate a part of queer history and queer culture that may make members of the LGBTQ plus community feel seen and included. As a queer person, I consider drag to be part of my culture, and its inclusion in new spaces where it might not have been welcome before is, in my book, meaningful representation. How do you think it feels to be told that something that is part of your culture is inherently inappropriate, is inherently unsafe for members of the community? As a queer child growing up and not seeing myself reflected anywhere, I assumed that who I was wrong, and that the reason there were no adults like me that I could see in my community was because people like me did not get to grow up and become adults. I would have given anything to see queerness represented and to know that I was not alone. I will close by sharing a brief story about how the moral panic around drag is interwoven with the origins of Newburyport Pride. This story is an example of how a community and how we as a community can respond to bigotry with hate and love. In 2022, Newburyport Recreation and Youth Services was planning an event for local young people, and as they often do, took into account what the kids wanted, and what the kids wanted was a drag queen. Because drag is almost exclusively contained in 21 and plus venues, queer kids often feel cut off from this part of their culture. Organizers found a local drag queen who was a DJ to provide music for the event. The Over the Rainbow dance, as it was called, was targeted by a conservative candidate running for office on the South Shore, whose objection to the DJ, a drag queen, was at the core of the attack. The location where the dance was to be held backed out due to an incredible amount of pressure from their organization that was brought about from the attacks generated from the publicity of this one candidate. But there was fear that the dance was going to have to be canceled. But the Newburyport community responded with an outpouring of support, with offers of alternative venues, including this church, donations of food, and the organization of a human wall to surround the kids going into the dance in order to block out any potential protesters. Some of you may have participated in that. Newburyport Pride was born out of this event, and it highlighted the need for community-wide, all-ages Pride celebration as a vehicle for communicating our support for queer youth in Newburyport, and it also demonstrated that there was an abundance of love and acceptance in the city that was just looking for an outlet. Newburyport's response to the Over the Rainbow dance shows us how we can respond to the lie about drag and how we can stand up for love and for inclusion by showing up for the queer youth in our communities and helping them survive and thrive.
some stairs and heels. This is fun for someone who's generally afraid of heights. All right. Let's do it, shall we? Good morning, distinguished members of the congregation, Reverend Rebecca, Nick on the piano. This is the day which the Lord has made. Anybody? Okay. I've just always wanted to say that from someone. Woo. I'm appearing before you today as a woman named Carlos, my late 40s drag personality who's perpetually trying to get her groove back. Everyone say hi, Carlos. Hi, Carlos. Hi, everybody. How are you? I think it's important to address you properly, though. My name is Zach Bertoletti. I'm 31 years old, and I'm a full-time professional drag performer. And that means a couple of things. I'm sure some of you have questions, and I'd like to answer them if I can. No, I'm not a woman. Drag is a costume that I put on to entertain people. It means a lot of things to me, but this is just skin deep. Firstly, drag is my only source of income. I do it professionally, like you go to your 9-to-5 jobs or whatever y'all do to make money around here, which is very important, I've been told. I produce my own shows 6 months out of the year in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, Provincetown, Massachusetts, and the greater New England area, including New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, and Maine. And the other 6 months of the year, I spend aboard a cruise ship. I'm a headliner. I sing songs, host events, and generally entertain people. I'm a musical theater artist. I'm a jazz and ballet dancer and a trained singer and actor. The shows that I produce and star in and my work on the cruise ship require me to sing live, dance at a high and safe level, perform stand-up comedy on a microphone, and do it all while encased in hip pads, corsets, padded bras, 4 pairs of tights, a dance belt, an expensive costume, Italian leather high heels, a wig that is literally glued to my head, costume jewelry, false nails and eyelashes, and about an hour's worth of cosmetics. Drag itself is a number of things, but at the level that I do it, it's certainly not easy. The term drag, as I think our friend said, comes to us initially in the way we know it from the Elizabethan stage. Shakespeare and Marlowe wouldn't have women on their stages, and so they'd employ, a local youngling, strap a wig on them and say, "You're Juliet today, kid, you got this." But we know drag as the act of appearing as another gender to be almost timeless. It's old as civilization. As long as we've been entertaining each other with story and song, there have been people pretending to be something they're not. Drag is known to the Greeks and Romans in their amphitheaters, in Edo Dynasty Japan, and the Ming and Qin dynasties in China. Courtly dances at Versailles, the grand operas of 17th century Russia, the makeshift stages of our boys at arms during the Second World War. There's a wonderful picture that's one of my favorites that is artillerymen that were called to the front to fix something to do with one of the cannons, and they're in drag. They were rehearsing a show for each other for Christmas. Isn't that charming? Can't you just imagine me like, or even the flag at Iwo Jima? It's fun to imagine. Why are we entertained by drag more than ever in this very shifting world that we're currently in? As we accept more and more the roles that we're cast in, as we accept more the roles that we've cast ourselves in on the basis of only sex and gender being arbitrary, the more we long to lampoon our own way of thinking. It takes so very little to confuse a person of being one thing when they are in fact the other. All it takes is a little change in clothing, hair and makeup, and I can very perfectly appear as something that I'm not, especially from this very safe and flattering distance. If I could take a moment to just dispel a couple of myths about drag, as our friend said, I have no intention of harming you. I don't like children on principle. I find that they're very sticky, and that gets all over the costumes and things if they try and hug me. I barely like my nieces and nephews. Drag is not necessarily aligning with someone's gender identity. I know that might be a new term for some of us in the room, but I'm not a woman in my real life. Like I said, I'm Zach, and I present as two different ways. I'm never offended by anyone calling me anything, because to me, this is just like, putting an apron on to go to a shift at a restaurant, or strapping on your tool belt to go fix a power line, albeit perhaps there's a little bit more blonde hair involved. Another myth I'd like to dispel is that drag disparages women. I don't think that that's true. The opposite, perhaps, I find is the truth. Drag celebrates women. It's the way we express ourselves, the way we present to the world. It extols the virtue of all things soft and feminine. It boldly decries people who hold the view that women are the weaker sex by portraying the best of what women can be: powerful, bold, funny, intelligent, emotional, and above all, captivating people. Drag celebrates womanhood, girlhood, and everything that makes this an act of rebellion. I'm often asked why I do drag. I have as I like to say, a fairly impressive musical theater pedigree. I've done some national tours, I did some regional theater. I'll answer the question as simply as I can. I like to find the humor and joy in the ideas that we have about ourselves as people and how they're purely constructed mythology. I love to celebrate the feminine within myself and within all of us. I love to tell stories. I think that's one of the most important things that we forget. We get so blinded by what we're told to think about people. And the truth is that, I'm a character. Although I might not be in a play right now, I'm trying to communicate a message. One of the reasons I love drag is that it's a mask. You can't exactly see everything that I'm thinking. Perhaps you'd like to, and that's alluring and entertaining about it. But what I love about drag is it gives me the ability to share things and say things that Zach normally wouldn't be able to. I can't say a lot of those now because I have some respect for the building we're in, but I'm sure your imagination can do the work for you. If I could take a moment of personal privilege and say that it means a lot to be standing here in front of a church congregation dressed the way I am. I grew up as a very proud Methodist. Any Methodists in the building? Oh, that's right. This is a Unitarian church, right? Okay. Woo! I was listening to the doxology and I was like, those aren't the words. My grandmother played the piano every Sunday for Sunday school at Wesley United Methodist Church in Worcester, Massachusetts. Woo! She taught me to love music on the Steinway that lived in her living room. My mother had us in church every Sunday growing up until we were confirmed. Then we stopped going to focus on studies and engage in sports, and I did some theater. When I came out of the closet, I'm a gay person. Shocking. My mother told me 3 things, if you'll pardon me for saying so, but they're a little difficult to hear. She told me, don't get AIDS, don't be the girl one, and don't ever be a drag queen. Oops. My mother is a very, devout religious woman. She still is. She struggled for a very long time with what she believed was a threat to my soul. She would tell me often that I was bound for a place that I really shouldn't be because I was a good person. She spent a long time trying to reconcile who I was with what her idea of the world was. Something that I feel members of a certain generation still perhaps struggle with, even if it's unsaid. I understand. I know my grandmother, I know my mother, I know people like your husbands and wives and your, sisters and brothers who may be of a different generation, who have a certain idea about what this is, about who I am, perhaps not even knowing me. We had some people who left earlier. Don't think I didn't see, I saw it. I'm sure you did too. To be here in front of all of you like this feels wonderful. It makes me feel like perhaps something's changing. Not every mind all at once, perhaps, but a slow, gradual change is all that's needed. Generation at a time, it becomes easier. Sorry, excuse me. After I came out in high school, the church was a place where I would go to often to be alone with my thoughts. I didn't go with my mother or my father. I came by myself and I would sit and I would sing in the choir with my little pink tie on and reflect. It took me a while even to reconcile who I was with my religion and what I believed at the time. And it made me feel safe and grounded and home. I felt more myself bringing the light to the front of the altar every Sunday than I did any day in school. I'm gonna get through it, I'm sorry. Thank you. I've read the Bible, a good chunk of it anyway. Well, at least the parts that matter. And what I've gleaned from most of it is that he had one very important, ooh, you okay? The most important thing that I've read is that he compelled us to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. Whew. It can be hard when people look and act and sound different from yourselves to welcome people into your fold with open arms. You may have feelings about people that are based on views that you hold that are sincere, and I understand that. But he asked us to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. And gosh, isn't that important now more than ever? Today being June 1st, I'm very glad to be here because Pride Month is not a celebration, it is a protest. It is not the time to hang out a rainbow flag and rest on your laurels. It is the time to resist fascism, homophobia, transphobia, and hatred of all people in all its forms. If I could ask you to do a few things this month, would you do them? Could you say yes, Carlos?
Yes, Carlos.
If you wouldn't mind using your wallet as a weapon and a tool, where you spend your money matters, especially when businesses decide that this month is Rainbow Month. It's just called rainbow washing. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just an attempt to, take your money under false pretenses. Don't believe those big corporations when they say they're in favor of something that they really won't be come July. Spend your money in places around towns like Newburyport that have queer business owners. little businesses that are trying to grow people that want to realize their own American dream, regardless of where they come from or who they love or what church they go to. Okay? Could you do that? Say yes?
Yes.
Secondly, would you speak up? And I know this is a more difficult one, but I am asking sincerely, and I am particularly talking to the older members of the congregation. I know that the people whose circles and friendships we keep might have different opinions of our own, and they may say some coarse things or things that would inflame the spirits of others were they outside of the room. If you're in a space that feels unwelcoming, I invite you to perhaps say, hey, don't talk about them that way. I know people who are gay. I know people who are trans. I know people who are immigrants. And they're good people, and they don't deserve to be spoken of that way. Would you do that for me? Third and finally, this beautiful month of June, I invite you to put art back into your life. Enjoy, well, thank you. Spring has sprung, summer is coming. Art is, of course, all around us in God's natural design. The greens that we have so longed for in winter are now back amongst us. But I also have to tell you that there are artists at work in your local community who could really, really use your love and support. They're making things that mean a lot to them, things that, you know, perhaps one day could be hanging in a very big museum. It could be worth a lot of money, too, someday. Go to an art gallery. Go see a play, even maybe if it's not the best play, that's okay. You know, not everyone's a professional. But go out and enjoy art, especially art by local people, by queer people, by people who are your friends. I know sometimes it's hard to get out of the house to go and try something new, but would you do that this month? Say yes?
Yes,
I promise I'll finish very shortly. We must remember this: as zealots seek to divide us and make us afraid of our friends, of our neighbors, from our fellow countrymen, and of anything that is different from ourselves, that we are all Americans. We're people. And it's wonderful that we have this 1 month to celebrate, but it ought to be year-round. Thank you. We have to repeat that what we're not called to do is separate ourselves. It's to bring us together. That which makes us unique is a joy and a gift, and that what we have in common is so much more powerful than what separates us. I stand before you today as a 31-year-old man who knows who he is and is very proud to be exactly what he is and where he is. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Learn about your gay and trans friends and ask them what would help them on their journeys. And lastly, learn about yourself. I can see everyone looking at me this evening, and if perhaps you've looked away a few times, know that I've noticed that as well, but I love you just the same. And what I implore you to do this month is to explore about yourself what makes you feel that way. Even if it doesn't change your mind, what makes you feel the way you do. Carlos has taught me a great deal about who Zach is, and I'm very grateful for that. Perhaps my ministry doesn't involve a pulpit, but if you're struggling today, and if perhaps you don't love me as much as I love you today, I still wish you peace. I still wish you joy, and I wish you a very happy Sunday, and I'm glad and grateful that you're here with me. I'm going to sing a song in a little bit, and I'd love you to listen to the lyrics. They go like this. On a clear day, rise and look around you, and you'll see who you are. On a clear day, how it will astound you that the glow of your being outshines every star. You'll feel part of every mountain, sea, and shore. You can hear from far and near a world you've never heard before. And on a clear day, you can see forever. Thank you very much for having me, and good Sunday to you.
And what Carlos said. That's what I say. Amen. Amen. Perhaps there's a future for you as a drag preacher, as whoever you are, because that was amazing. Thank you. There are moments where we show up and we do church. Thank you for doing church today, as we've done before, and we will do again and again and again. Let's rise in body and spirit and join together in hymn number 1014. It's in the teal hymnal, Answering the Call of Love.
The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide. And so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. Sometimes we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound, corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. A bright new day is dawning, when love will not divide, inflected by grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision divine. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. We are answering the call of love.
Please remain standing, or sit, but if you'd like to remain standing, we'll join in our unison benediction as Nancy extinguishes the chalice. The words are in your order of service. May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us now and always. My friends, before we allow ourselves to experience and participate in the glorious postlude, which we will all see better for, I'd like to remind us to join next door for a pizza celebrating us, and also for then followed by a Justice Sunday around universal design, inclusion in all of the many ways. I also want to thank Nick Place for bringing a woman named Carlos here and for helping us expand our hearts. I've heard you'll be up in P-Town together this summer, right? We're making a road trip. We sure are. So my friends, as we prepare to depart from this place, may we do so emboldened by the truth of our own lives, our own hearts, our own minds, emboldened by the truth of all those around us. May we do so with a heart so wide and so brave that we answer the call of love this day and every day of the rest of our lives. Go in peace, my friends. Return again in great joy. Amen, and blessed be.
And you'll see who you are. On a clear day, how it will astound you that the glow of your being outshines every star you'll feel part of, every mountain, sea, and shore. You can hear from far and near, a world you've never heard before. And on a clear day, on that clear day, you can see forever and ever and evermore. Nick Place on the piano, everybody, come on. You'll feel part of every mountain, sea, and shore. You can hear from far and near a world you've never heard before. And on a clear day, on that clear day, you can see forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever.